Now I would like to give the floor to our second panelist. In this part, this is Professor Dr. André Bresges, who is Director of the Institute of Physical Education for Development and Evaluation of a training software that models and visualizes the behavior of car and driver in speeding accident. He was awarded as a safety star in 2004 by Renault Nissan Europe and the German Association of the Driving Instructors. How a human brain models physical reality during car driving situated by functional magnetic resonance imaging was the focus of interest in a follow-up research. Dr. Bresges, the floor is yours.
Thank you so very much, and I hope you can all listen to me. I've provided access to this presentation via a link, and perhaps Vanita can just share this link to everybody who is listening so that you can see what's coming to you in advance. This is myself. As Vanita said, I have made my postdoc thesis about how human beings are modeling the environment around them. And what is happening in these times is that cars do likewise. And that will be the topic of my talk. The amazing capability of modern cars to report the surroundings. Because we had this amazing talk of Michael just minutes before, so we know what incredible amount of data the car is storing inside. And I will just refer to this picture right here. That's basically what you told. So there are so many data that are transferred in the car that can be accessed by an EDR unit. But another thing that comes to my mind when you were talking, Michael, is that these cars are essentially blind. Yes, they are sensing something that touches the car, that crushes. So it just resembles me on somebody who has his eyes blindfolded, but is actually sensing when somebody is touching him. That's the state of the art. And as we all have figured out, it takes a lot of knowledge to build up a model of how this accident has happened just based on these recorded physics data in the car. So I hold my PhD in physics, so that don't scare me. But how can a victim of an accident prove his innocent using this sort of car data when the car data are perhaps stored in the opponent's car? Luckily, the legal rules are on our side, according to European law. So we have the General Data Protection Regulation. In Germany, that's the famous Datenschutzgrundverordnung. And first of all, the Datenschutzgrundverordnung or the GDPR rules that every data is owned by who creates the data. And there is no difference if you are creating data by typing it on your keyboard, or if you create data by driving in your car. You are the creator of the data, so you are owning this very data. And this could lead to the cause that if I have caused a crash, I just go to these GDPR and say nobody can access these data, and car companies are on the side of the car owners. But lucky again, there's an important extension in the GDPR by competent authorities, by police, for prevention or investigation. There has to be an extension. They have access to this data. How? This is governed by state rules. In Germany, the access is regulated by the Strafprozessordnung. So to investigate an accident, the police officers can collect the data. There's or even holds if the data are stored on the cloud, not in the car, but remote. This is an important thing given the amount of data that a modern car collects. So let's have a look how many data a modern car that tries to navigate its environment by autonomous driving already connects. So what has a normal car to deal with. It's not enough with sensing an impact. The car has to look ahead, not only ahead, even to the side. The car has to detect, for example, cut-ins. If some other car tries to cut in my road, just prior to an accident, the car has to brake if he's in an autonomous or assisted driving mode. Furthermore, all of these cars are equipped with radar. Now hold this. Normally, speeding car drivers with speed are scared of the police putting up a radar system at the side of the road. Now, most of the modern cars accessing the road of today have radar built in. And there's a sensor fusion taking place. You can see this here. So what they are doing today is they try to learn how to fuse the radar data to the visual data to give an enormous amount of spatial awareness. What happens around my car, with what velocity are other cars approaching my car, and everything is stored in the car. Now is the question, how can we access? It could be rather difficult by most German automakers, for example. They often hold to the general data protection rules, but as most courts has ruled out, this is wrong. Again, the car drivers own the data and the police is legged to access these data. Some cars make it pretty easy. Now look at this. This is a modern autonomous car with a dash cam mode. And you can see in the manual that you can access the data of the cameras using just a simple USB. You perhaps know these devices with this sort of connector, USB drive. So in your dashboard, there's an USB connector. You can hook up a drive there, and the car would store the data 10 minutes, not only 5 seconds, as Michael White hoped to acquire. 10 minutes prior, all recorded data are stored on this USB chip, and you can activate it on the dashboard or simply by honking, MERP, or obviously if the airbag comes out. This data gets stored in the vehicle and can be accessed by a simple USB drive. So bad news is if you're on the car and have touched a bicyclist, you can just plug it out and throw it away to make your point safely. So that system is useful if everybody has it, but can have an enormous amount of justice in court. Should be easy to provide your own innocence. And now imagine, you remember the beautiful presentation of Yolanda, how hard it is for a victim to prove his innocence. He has a lot of problems to deal with, his own insurance company, his impairments perhaps, and now how can he provide his innocence without having a PhD in physics. Let me just prove to you what the dashcam cameras provides and data. You see this connected to the mural presentation. I just press on play and hope that's no commercial is starting right now. There you see it. That is just out from the USB stick. Another car has just approached from the back, is cutting in front of this, and even later gets stuck in the traffic ahead. So the driver of this Tesla has recorded everything from the starting of the cut-in. That is approaching in the back, showing away access to the rear camera, to the side camera, to the front camera, just by honking on his horn or pushing a button on the dashboard. And if that would have lead to an accident, it would be quite easy to get justice in court. I'm quite positive about this. Okay, these are the major things I want to show you, and I see, since that is a thing that is starting right now, that rolls into our cars, we should have a position on this early enough to inform everybody that he has the possibility to prove his innocence, and to inform the courts and justice that these amounts of data are stored. Today, they are stored for a good cause, to make the image vision system better. For example, modern cars have difficulties with this situation. Like there's a bicycle and it would be recognized this as a bicycle. You see this yellow bar, but the red bar is an error message. So obviously the car can't handle a bicycle that's driving not to the side, but it's hooked to another car. So I'm drawing in depth. So the computer is confused here. That's the right rectangle. And what's happening next is that the cars start to collect data from the fleet. That's called fleet learning. So every like 400,000 cars are launching their cameras and trying to collect data from bicycle on cars to make the system better. So the large, that's happening today on the roads. The large companies are collecting an incredible amount of data to make their own systems better. Their goal is to prevent all sort of accidents in advance. So reacting on cars that are crashed on the road, even in this case, reacting on cars that are flying against you because of a crash on the opposite side of the road. The goal is to prevent such sort of accidents, and that's why huge amounts of data are collected right now. I would say this is a good course, but I would say if these data are collected anyway, they should put to use to prove the innocence of victims and to make our roads safer. And may it be just because that everybody who drives a car knows that everybody else has a radar device on its car and is ready to provide guilt and innocence if it comes to a crash. That would be my point of today, and I thank you so very much for listening.
Thank you very much.